What's up guys, it is Dan and Nick back with another episode of F1 2021 Cup Career Mode, and we're in Monaco and Azerbaijan today because, as usual, we don't finish Monaco. Spoiler alert. Simply because it's Monaco, but at least we'll be along for the ride so we don't miss anything as we circle around the skyline at the moment. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can see all of the races as soon as they're uploaded. Now let's get into the grid from the back of qualifying. Don't expect to see a Williams very high up here because, well, we're not very good at this track. And it's Yuki Tsunoda and Max Verstappen on the front row here. Tsunoda vastly overpowered, followed by Perez and Hamilton, Lance Stroll, Lando Norris, Daniel Ricciardo, Antonio Giovinazzi, Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso making up the top 10. Charles Leclerc, Esteban Ocon, Nicholas Latifi, Pierre Gasly, George Russell, then Nick, Valtteri Bottas, Mick Schumacher, Nikita Mazepin, and then myself at the very back. Here we go. It's Monaco.
On board with Radiant Slothz, a precursor to a DNF.
Now running with zero traction control and zero ABS, quite possibly the worst racetrack he could have disabled those assists. But he did it anyway, as he attempts to make an overtake at Monaco. I doubt that this is going to go very well at all. Coming up into Casino Square.
A battle going on ahead with Justin Freshpot Schumacher and the world champion Bottas.
Schumacher.
I think Bottas hit the wall.
Schumacher might have lost a piece of his front wing there as he stops.
And they've all gone very slowly into the hairpin. Radiant Slothz caught off guard.
Yeah.
He gets the warning. You have to say that's deserved.
Justin Freshpot also with a 5-second penalty. Comes into the pits ahead of his teammate. Terrible.
As both the Williams pit, a questionable tactical decision.
Why would they
put
the man with the penalty into the pit lane first? Who knows? And now we're
Radiant Slothz now preparing for an incredibly long pit stop. The Haas will have to wait for him to move out of the way.
He's still waiting. Radiant Sloth's very angry right now. This is reminiscent of Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton's rivalry. They're still waiting. That man who could have been helping with the pit stop rushes out with a new front wing.
Radiant Slothz has now spent 40 seconds in the pit lane. That's almost an entire lap.
And you can see
as he comes out finally after 50 seconds.
And just a lap later, he hits the wall whilst trying to avoid
the wall.
Whilst trying to avoid everybody who is blue flagging him.
We cut back to the same piece of track. He's checking his engine. He's run wide. He's run wide again.
Damage is doing him dirty.
He keeps it out of the barrier. He's braked very late into that corner.
He tries to let them pass, but they're just not going past him. So he pulls up.
A questionable part of the track to let everyone through, but he's done it anyway. He, for some reason, cuts up the TV. Apparently, he was not allowed through, as Radiant Slothz makes his second pit stop in 3 laps.
He makes a quick change to make sure he's being put onto medium tyres. His teammate is coming round the swimming pool section, getting ready to lap him. And then the only man...
Another new front wing for Radiant Slothz.
His engine going cold because of how slow he has to go around the track with all of the damage that he has. As there goes his teammate.
Justin Freshpot flies past, very close to the pit lane.
And they go on once again to destroy some more front wings.
Here we see Radiant Slothz coming out of the tunnel. A yellow
Daniel
flag.
Ricciardo has retired, so he will make at least one overtake if he can make it back around on another lap. As he comes into Raskas, hits the barrier on the inside, and is forced to Austin Powers it. A similar move played by Justin Freshpot at all of these narrow circuits. That's one of his favourite manoeuvres. as we go on board with Justin
Now racing
Freshpot,
Mazepin.
who has remembered that it's Nikita Mazepin behind him and decides not to allow him to go past.
I mean, that's not me, but sure.
we've been rear-ended. It's Justin Freshpot.
A brake failure from the Williams as they pit again.
Familiar sight for the Williams cars. Radiant Slothz having to watch his teammate be serviced in front of him again, and Nikita Mazepin watches on in despair as he is not allowed to leave his pit box.
Once again held up by the goons
The
in
Williams
the
crew,
Williams
the light went green and the driver has stayed there.
Reports coming in that he was checking his phone.
Tyre change not going particularly quick for the Williams car, but he does get away. Still ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, thankfully. As we come round again.
Coming into the swimming
pool. He takes a lot of curb. Oh, it's looking a little dangerous.
Through that corner.
Oh, and he keeps it out the barrier.
Once again, looking at his engine wear.
Engine wear being a vital part of this circuit, clearly. Otherwise, he wouldn't be constantly looking at it. As he comes around, Justin Freshpot stopped on track for no apparent reason, puts him in the wall. Shocking. And goes into the pits for
the Williams driver reporting another brake failure. Radiant Slothz behind Ocon, who has DNF'd.
And gets the overtake.
Finally gets past.
Everyone in front of him in the pit lane.
Coming into the swimming pool. He's hit the wall.
And there
coming now down the pit straight.
He has managed to unlap himself on Pierre Gasly, who hits him for no reason.
He's crashed into Pierre. He's continuing to crash into Pierre Gasly. He's now going after Tsunoda. Another front wing
barge
loss.
pod damage, side pod damage. He's got it all right now.
Coming back through the tunnel, 15 laps into this race. Will he finally finish a race around Monaco? He will not.
And Justin Freshpot also retires at the same time.
Yuki Tsunoda picks up another win. What a drive from the young Japanese driver.
He takes yet another trophy in what is quite clearly not the podium from the actual Monaco event. So we're briefly back over to future version of me, because we didn't record anything for this interim part, which was just great. This was supposed to have gone up yesterday, but I've been ill recently, so that's why it hasn't. There are the winners. Let's get into the next one. And here we are in Azerbaijan for race 5, one that we were slightly better at than Monaco. Of course, there's some runoff here, so we don't have a complete disaster, which is our normal scenario at this point. Unfortunately, at the end of this race, we don't get to see any of the podiums or anything because, well, we'll find out soon enough why that is, but for now let's just focus on the race and get right into the grid order from qualifying. Definitely much better than we did in Monaco. Yuki Tsunoda and Max Verstappen once again on the front row, so no surprise or change right there at the moment, unless of course you haven't watched any of the other episodes. Lance Stroll somehow put it in P3, Lewis Hamilton, Daniel Ricciardo, Pierre Gasly, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Sergio Perez, then Nicholas Latifi, Carlos Sainz, Antonio Giovinazzi, Esteban Ocon, Fernando Alonso, Valtteri Bottas, myself. I think I took a whole new engine here. Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. Oh, and I also have no assists on anymore.
Are we? That's been a while. The Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Justin Freshpot starting in 10th. What can he make happen?
Radiant Slothz starting in P17 at the back again. No traction control, his proper race without the assists, given that Monaco was a complete disaster. Justin Freshpot defends 10th place from Nicholas Latifi on the opening lap. And he's chasing down Sergio Perez into the first DRS zone. Justin Freshpot looks to the inside of
Back with
Sergio
number
Perez.
24.
There's contact. He puts Perez in the barrier. Perez not happy.
Perez there, completely at fault.
Side by side. Going into this very twisty section, Perez concedes to Justin
Backed out.
Freshpot.
He knows who the better driver is as we go on board with Radiant Slothz. Smelling a collision coming
He's
up.
looking to the outside of Mick Schumacher, and it looks as though
He almost hits the wall.
he is going to get the position. Mick Schumacher struggling. He was overtaken by his teammate already, and if you've been overtaken by Nikita Mazepin, you know your day is not going well. Justin Freshpot into the pits on lap 4,
Flies into the pit lane.
following the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. And Lance Stroll seems to have come in, Hamilton and Perez all in as well.
Will it be a quick stop from the Williams boys?
He's being held for some reason. There's no reason. He was being held for no reason. There were no cars coming whatsoever.
He says thank you to the team as he curses his way out of his pit box.
Radiant Slothz chasing down Nikita Mazepin at the end of the DRS zone. Nikita Mazepin unlikely to play fair here, although he does on this occasion.
Amazing that we have seen 2 overtakes from Radiant Slothz, but 0
We're about to
collisions.
see some
That is
more.
not something you see every race.
He moves up to
As he
P10.
comes into turn 1.
Max Verstappen behind him as he exits the pit lane. He will be looking to clear this traffic as quickly as possible. And Justin Freshpot.
Justin Freshpot now flying down the pit straight.
The undercut has not really helped him here as he comes
But he
round.
gets ahead of the world champion Valtteri Bottas. Could that be a precursor to Justin Freshpot winning the championship?
Who knows?
We will find out.
Radiant Slothz.
It's Radiant Slothz now defending from the 0-time champion Max Verstappen. He goes up the
hit.
inside and Radiant
He's been
Slothz.
hit.
Radiant Slothz moves
Nikita
across.
Mazepin and Mick Schumacher
does
take their
not give-
places. He locks up coming
He
into
does
this.
not give this.
He's hit Mick Schumacher.
He's crashed into Mick Schumacher, cousin of Ralph Schumacher, for no reason.
Ricardo.
He now looks like he's trying to hit the McLaren. There is a huge gaggle of cars here.
All of them.
Who will Radiant Sloth's next target be?
All of them trying to get past Mick Schumacher as we come down the pit straight. We got Lance Stroll and Pierre Gasly behind. Charles Leclerc is going to try and get involved as well. He's trying to catch up to them. Mick Schumacher on the brakes for no
And
apparent
Radiant.
reason has put Radiant Sloths into the barrier.
Radiant Sloths could not tell that Mick Schumacher was going to pit after he gave Mick Schumacher damage. Mick Schumacher here trying to back off to go in the pit lane without sideswiping Hamilton. Radiant Sloths in his slow reactions hits the wall,
A shocking collision.
causing, I believe, a safety
We go
car.
on to
as
drone
we
cam
see.
right now just to see it from yet another angle.
Yet another
He's sandwiched
replay.
in the middle of all of these
The Haas
cars.
there. The Haas there clearly slowing down to go in the pit lane. Radiant Sloths slow to react.
If only Mick Schumacher
himself out of the
was
race.
actually on the right line to try and go into the pit lane.
Some would say that he could not move across as there was a car there. As Justin Freshpot flies past his teammate. A passing of the torch, if you will.
As Justin Freshpot.
He carries on triumphantly
Sparks.
as there is sparks for some reason coming out of that tree. Coming now down the second DRS straight. Back onto the first DRS straight.
Looks as though there's a gaggle of cars
A
in the pit
German
lane.
flag waving in the distance.
Who has he got past? It's some of the back markers. Nikita Mazepin's come in and a few others. As we rejoin at what can only be the restart. Justin Freshpot ready to go past Charles Leclerc into turn 1. And he might just get more than one here. He's checking on Lance Stroll as well. And does get the place. Powering down in chase of Pierre Gasly. There's an issue there. Ferrari hits the wall and Lance Stroll is now last, but we don't see what happened. Justin Freshpot coming down the pit straight with everyone
He
coming in.
overtakes a large number of cars in the pits.
He's up into 5th.
This could be a good point haul here for the Williams team.
On board now, Justin Freshpot defending from Sergio Perez. And also Pierre Gasly fighting for third place ahead of them. He keeps the position.
Justin Freshpot runs slightly wide. That's going to cost him into the next corner.
Sparks coming out of that tree once
Stays
again.
ahead of Perez. Perez will now have DRS, maybe.
The battle
does.
for third still ongoing.
Justin Freshpot within a second of Pierre Gasly, but does not get DRS as Perez swoops past. Perez, I believe, has a penalty at the moment from my very distant memory of this race that we're watching live.
Valtteri Bottas there making a challenge for 6th place in the World Championship car. We're going to say World Championship
The
car.
Two McLaren's currently running 1-2. They are looking good this season, you'd have to say. It's Justin Freshpot.
Finishes the race. And there we have it. That is the end of a double-header in the series. 2 races that were partnered together last time because of how terribly they went. There are no standings or podium from this because I forgot to record the standings after I rage quit from the race because of that accident that I got into. So we'll have to find out what happens in Canada, which if you are still watching, stick around for that one because it is a great race. Williams have got some great things coming up. For now, take care. We'll catch you in the next one.